Welcome to Chok Muay Chats, episode 20, the podcast where we talk about everything Muay Thai. I'm Joe Comerford, commentator, content creator, and former fighter. Joining me today is former double Australian Muay Thai champion, gym owner, and trainer, Mr. Jordan Fielding. Welcome.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you for the entrance. That was cool.
That's all right. No problem. That's what we're here for. So, make sure you like, subscribe, and share this episode amongst your friends. It's available on YouTube and Spotify. And of course, where can everybody check you out?
My personal Instagram is jordanfielding_SHMT or Strong Heart Muay Thai on Facebook and Instagram.
And of course, Strong Heart is your gym in South Australia.
Yes, that's right.
So maybe what we might do is start off with how the journey with Strong Heart started. How did that come about? What was the catalyst for opening your own gym?
Yeah. So originally I'm from Sydney. As you know, we're both Sydney boys. I trained with Lewis at SRG Thai Boxing Gym.
Mm-hmm.
I moved to Adelaide. I had probably 11 or 12 fights.
Yep.
I was 21 years old, and I went to a couple of gyms there. So one gym I went to, I stayed there for about 3 months. I didn't really like it.
Mm-hmm.
Then I moved on I trained with Pinky in Adelaide.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, Pinky's been on the chat before. That was great. I stayed with him, had a couple of fights with him. And when I moved from Sydney to Adelaide, I could see that there was such a market for a great Thai boxing gym or more good Thai boxing gyms. I then went to spend some time in Thailand. I stayed at Sing Patong for a long stint, and I came back to Adelaide and I thought, you know what? I really want to own a gym. This is the perfect city to do it in. And so I opened Strong Heart Muay Thai. Awesome.
And you've had some Thai trainers there as well from Revolution,
yes,
correct?
Yes. Yep.
So the Tim Fisher connection, I like to call it.
Yes.
So what trainers have you had there?
Oh,
you've had some pretty big names through there. I remember that.
That was one thing I also noticed when I moved to South Australia was none of the gyms had Thai trainers. And that was a big difference that I thought I could bring to my gym. So we've had Lumpini champions, Omnoi Stadium champions. Like we've had about 8 different trainers over the years. Couple of Thais from Bangkok too that weren't from Revolution. I had Janro Pumpanwong at the gym who was the Omnoi Stadium champion. So yeah, we've had a crazy amount of knowledge. And it's really helped the gym as well over the last 8 years.
I mean, that's one of the things about, I think, that's special about Australian Muay Thai is that we pride ourselves on beautiful Thai-style Muay Thai, and it's because of the close geographical proximity to Thailand. We're lucky in the sense that we've got access to some of the world's best trainers. I mean, we're starting to see more and more Thai trainers go overseas, to like China, Japan.
Yeah.
Even America now are starting to get a few more.
Yeah.
But we're lucky because, one, the climate is very similar to Thailand, so the Thais can adjust quite easily to Australia.
Like the cold.
No, they don't like the cold. They don't like the cold. The other thing is that because Australia is so multicultural, we're lucky in a sense that there's pockets of Thai communities right around Australia, and that's a big thing that people don't realise is that Thais get homesick quite easily. They're very proud of their country, and when they go to another country, it's very easy for them to get homesick. Yeah. I mean, I've got a little story for you is that when I took my wife to Australia for the first time, if people don't know, I've got a Thai wife. When I took her to Australia to visit my family, we had to go to a Thai grocery so that she could buy noodles because she missed Thai food so much, and that was only for 10 days. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Imagine being there for 3 months, 6 months, 1 year.
Exactly. And often, you'll go to gyms in Australia and, often some gyms will have like 2 or 3 Thais, and it's good for them to have that connection with other countrymen because, they can have little cook-ups in the back room, a lot of Mugatar or Isan food. And
whatever it is, watch Thai movies, just even have a conversation,
Yeah.
I've always had one Thai trainer at my gym, but we're in a good location where they can walk to get Thai food. There's, Thai grocery shops around. Some of them, I give them an option, like you can either stay at the gym or you can live with me. So I've had a couple choose to stay at my house, and we've spent time together cooking, eating, and I've loved that too because they've taught me so much, being able to, living with a Olympian champion, sitting down every night, eating with him. I've asked so many questions and learn, and gives them some company. But they definitely love being around Thai people, and, they need to feel comfortable in Australia. That can be hard to manage, especially, if they're homesick and they still have 3 months left on their contract, it can get hard.
I think that's what a lot of gym owners don't realize when they're bringing Thais over, is that aspect of, they're just here to do a job, but Thais generally get homesick very easily, and I think that's one of the challenges that gym owners will face in having a Thai in their gym.
Absolutely, and it's so important to understand Thai culture and Thai people, how to deal with them, how to talk with them, how to do business with them. And I think a lot of maybe gym owners in Australia would probably have no idea about any of that. So it definitely helps to understand that for sure, to make them comfortable and also so your business runs smoothly. Because if they don't like the gym, your classes are going to be complete and it's not going to be a good time for you.
100%. 100%.
Yeah. I've heard some horror stories, and we've obviously had a couple funny things happen we can at the gym as well. So it's a journey here. And I think it really just comes down to education about willing to open yourself up to a completely different culture. And I mean, Thai culture is so different to Western culture, just the way day-to-day operation, the way that they conduct business, the way that they conduct relationships, even on a friendship level. So you need to be willing to be open to that, I think. 100%. One of the things I've learned, over the years, is they're not very direct people. So sometimes, like, someone will say to me, the Thai said this, he wasn't happy with this, and I'm like, well, and then I'll approach the trainer and say, hey, like, if you have an issue with something, just tell me, it's okay, but they seem to go, they won't be direct. They'll tell someone to tell you, and it's just the way they are.
Yes, yeah. I mean, it comes down to the sort of Asian cultural facet of face. Face and reputation is a really big thing, and they don't want to cause frustration in people, and they don't want to cause conflict with people. So often they'll have to go the long route.
Yes.
If they've got a challenge or something that they're facing at work, they'll go to someone else, and then that somebody else will go to that someone else. And then, it might take even up to 5 people to tell you what you're doing wrong or what they're not happy with. So you just need to be patient. I think patience is really
massive.
Important thing.
Yeah.
I mean, and Thai people are the most patient people in the world. I mean, this is one of their amazing qualities, is that as foreigners, we can do things that really frustrate them, and it will take a long time for them to get angry with you about it, or they might not even tell you. They'll just put up with it, but you need to just be open.
That's right. Open communication.
And I think one of the other things is, like, you need to be willing to be able to learn a little bit of the language. as well.
Completely agree. Yeah, completely agree. I can say I do not speak fluent Thai, but I can converse. So if a trainer does come and speaks no English, I can have a basic conversation like, how are you? How are you feeling? What do you want to eat?
Yeah.
Just little things like that. And they say, oh, he's made an effort. That they really appreciate that. They love that.
Yeah. And I think it's it's great for students or practitioners of Muay Thai to learn a little bit in case they want to come here and do the John Wayne Parr experience of training out here and that sort of thing. What are some of the other challenges, like moving away from the Thai side? What are some of the challenges that you face as a business owner?
For me personally, my biggest challenge was honestly managing the actual business side of the business.
Right. Yeah.
So I never, went to uni or learnt about tax or anything like that. And, when you open a business, you don't get, someone come to you and say, oh, you have a business now. This is how you do your tax. This is how you run the business. I started the gym and very quickly my gym blew up. It blew up and I made more money than I'd ever, made. And I didn't know how to control it. And, everything's coming in and going out and coming in and going out. So the biggest thing for me was to learn how to manage the business as a business. The classes and the teaching and everything was easy. It's learning the back end of it. That was my challenge for sure.
Did you learn to manage it through trial and error, or did you do any courses or anything like that?
No courses, trial and error.
Trial and error. Do you think it would be worth it for, like new gym owners to do a course in business or management?
I think so, yeah. Going back, like this is the 10th year Strong Heart's been open now. So I've made so many mistakes that I've learned from, but if I studied, maybe I wouldn't have had to make those mistakes, And so I definitely recommend anything you can do to level up and make your life easier and your business operate better. I would for sure recommend it.
Yeah, I think that's one of the, especially in I think in our worlds, in this sport, we have this sort of mentality of coming from the world of fighting.
Yeah.
Even myself, a former fighter, it's hard to separate that mentality of, you just got to tough it through, that sort of stuff. And especially Aussies, I think it's kind of an Aussie thing as well of she'll be right. She'll be right. Yeah. People are sort of think it's cringy to take on that management role. You've got to operate it from a fighter's perspective, which I don't think you can afford to these days.
You can't afford to. My landlord that I pay rent to, he doesn't give a how many fights I've had. You know what I mean? The rent has to be in the account by the end of the month,
Yep.
So if you want to own or run a successful gym, you need to be on top of those things. Thinking it's cringy or whatever, it's wrong. Any business that you have, you need to be on top of everything.
And have you learnt from other gym owners as well of
Yeah, I'm a big believer in, if I don't know something, I'll always just ask. I think it's a great thing. We all start without knowledge. So if I ever have a question about my gym or anything, I'll often contact Lewis Regis, who was my old trainer. I'll ask people like Kieran, Sai. I'll reach out to anyone who I think is my friend and can help me. And I think and it's a good thing, Yeah.
I mean, we're kind of lucky in Australia that we've got a fairly supportive Muay Thai community, and now we're starting to see some very successful business owners in the world of Muay Thai, especially in Australia, who are doing some amazing things. I mean, even promotion-wise, you look at from the time we were fighting. I mean, I even think we may have fought on the same card back in Sydney at one point.
Yeah.
And you look at the level of shows. I mean, Siam to Sydney was a amazing show back in that day.
It was.
you look at the level of shows that are coming out in Queensland. WA's got Muay Thai Grand Prix. Melbourne's got a handful now. I mean, Rebellion was always a very strong one.
Yeah.
But now you've got Hardcore doing 1774 in Sydney. A shout out to IRM and Michael Green. Doing amazing things over there. I have to give them a little bit of a plug because I do a bit of stuff for them.
Yeah.
So,
Great show.
I mean, look at the fights they've put on recently, like crazy.
Dude, sometimes I look at the card and I'm like, how did they do this? It's insane.
Look at the last fight. I mean, Yotin versus the Cambodian champ.
Yeah.
You could not do that here in Thailand.
Nah. And they pulled it off in Sydney.
They pulled it off in Sydney, of all places. I mean, amazing. And then you've got the very, very passionate Cambodian fans as well.
Yeah.
Amazing stuff. And then Queensland coming out with some amazing promotions like Eruption, MTL, Muay Thai League, who are now collaborating with other promotions, and they've got the World League of Fighters now.
Which is that Road to One? Is that what it is?
I think they're supposed. I think they are doing a Road to One because they did one in Canada with Kieran Kettle. So he ran the Road to One series in Canada, and I'm pretty sure his promotion is part of the World League of Fighters now. And they're all collaborating with the WBC. They're actually putting on an event on June the 1st at Lumpini Stadium.
Awesome.
So they got four fights on, and I think there's WBC titles on the line, but it's this big event. A lot of interest from the Middle East as well.
I was going to say, I have seen it now. I recognize it. Yeah, that's amazing. I did see that. Having the influence now and the backing of Middle East it's massive for Muay Thai because that a lot of money over in the Middle East,
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
the more eyes, the more sponsors, the bigger makes the sport much better.
All we need to do next is break into the North American market. And I really believe that in the next 2 years we're going to achieve that. But, yeah. So, I mean, we're kind of spoiled in Australia for promotions. The only thing is I think New South Wales could have more. I mean, SRG's got one, right? Lewis has got one.
Yeah, SRG show's amazing. It's like going to like Channel 7 or something, It's like it's small, it's intimate. There's people sitting, people standing.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's a bit dark on the outside. And the crowd goes crazy in there. The energy in there is amazing.
What about South Australia these days? You used to have Knees of Fury.
Yes, Knees of Fury. I fought on there a lot, Knees of Fury. That's finished now. Knees of Fury's done.
Yep.
We have Pride.
Yeah, I've seen Pride. Pride's pretty decent, right?
Yeah, I had a few fighters on there last Saturday, but I missed it because I flew here that day.
Yeah, I saw Pinky's boy 50 Shades wearing a gimp mask. That was interesting.
Yeah, shout out to the gimp.
Yeah.
He done himself a mischief.
Wow. That's I mean, but that's what we need in Australia is showmanship like that. I mean, that stuff's cool.
It is. I have one fighter, Quang Lee, where when he walks out, he's Vietnamese. He wears like a rice farming hat.
Oh, that's pretty cool, yeah.
And now, like, whenever everyone's like, "Oh, that's that guy,"
Yeah.
They know who he is, because he's something different.
Yeah.
It's definitely, if you can, make yourself marketable and have a point of difference, you should definitely do it.
Yeah. How important do you think that is for fighters now? Because I mean, when when we were around, Instagram was just sort of taking off, and we sort of started noticing that social media started becoming important, because I remember back in that day it was about selling tickets, and maybe you got about $10 out of every ticket that was like $100. So, like that was professional Muay Thai. You didn't really get a purse. You got sales out of tickets.
Yeah, that's right.
But what about now? Like, what do you think? Do you think like social media is a bit overrated, or do you think it's part of the game now?
Look, I think Muay Thai's grown so much internationally, right? The better presence you have on social media, or like a point of difference, something that makes you exciting besides your fighting skill, it's going to look good to the promoters overseas. It gives you more opportunities. You know what I mean? Like say if you apply to fight overseas and the promoter, they've never heard of you before, they're going to look at your Instagram. They're going to look, at your followers, the content you do, like all these little things help. But I think it's also a good thing to don't be, just another sheep in the crowd.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's cool to have your own identity. Whatever it is, like I think go all in on it.
Yeah,
sure.
Whether it be a gimp mask or a rice paddy hat.
Yeah, gimp mask or rice paddy hat, definitely.
So, I mean, just going back to that idea is, like a promoter might not know you, and having a look at your Instagram now, a good example of that is Nick Keros. Now he's fighting on RWS this weekend.
Yeah.
So can you walk us through how that happened? Because
sure.
Nick has got. I went and had a look at his Instagram. It's fairly good. I mean, it's getting there. He could do with a little bit more, but that's one of those things about being a fighter is it's hard to balance making content with. Especially in Australia, because you've got a full-time job,
yes,
you've got balancing your fight career, and then now the expectation is to have putting out content.
Yeah.
His is okay. I mean, he's got photos of him with the WBC belt, which is a pretty big thing.
Yeah.
I thought it was okay, and if I was a promoter, I'd be like, okay, he's decent, we'll have him on.
Yeah.
So how did that come about?
So Nick won the WMC state title.
Mm-hmm.
He then went to win the WBC Australian title.
Mm-hmm.
And then he defended the title too. So he's the 2-time WBC Australian champion. He fought pretty much everyone in his weight division in Australia. Winning the title twice, we sort of had to decide what we're going to do if we want to stay locally and, stay on that circuit and defend the title, or do we want to step up and have a crack on the international scene? I had this conversation with Nick, and Nick said to me his dream was to fight on RWS, and I said, okay. The problem was I didn't have a contact, because it put me in a position that I hadn't been in before.
Right.
I haven't had a fighter who's ready to fight, on overseas. So
yeah.
I don't have the contact because I've never needed it. So I had to sit down. I was like, I really want my fighter to fight on RWS. I'm going to make it happen for Nick. He's worked hard. He's a loyal. And so I just reached out to a few people, asked if they had the contact. I got the contact. I messaged the promoter. I sent Nick's obviously fight record, videos, everything. And the promoter contacted Sai Naji, Lewis Regis, and asked them if they knew Jordan or Strongheart and if they could vouch for me, because we're coming from Australia. He doesn't know us. He said, do you know them? Is he reliable? Are they good fighters? Blah, 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 blah. I didn't know this. They vouched for us, which is amazing. And then he got back to me and said, yep, I love Nick's style. We're going to have him on. So
it worked on a basis of, a strong reputation that you guys are reliable and you'll come here to fight.
Yeah.
How important do you think reputation is in a sport? Because, I mean, Muay Thai is, yes, it's going global, but it's still a very small scene. I mean, we're not international rugby, we're not gridiron, we're not NBA, we're not garnering millions of dollars. How important do you think, reputation is? Because word is everything, I think.
It's everything. It's everything, especially like what I just said. It's a perfect example. The promoter could have contacted Sai and then, whoever, and they could have said, no, don't trust them. You know, their style isn't good, or they're unreliable, and bang, the opportunity would have been gone, and we wouldn't be here. Reputation I think it's everything, to be honest. It's important to be a good person to everyone.
Yep.
Because you never know, not that you do something, you know, to receive something, but you should be a good person to everyone. You never know when you might end up working together, or, you know, I might help you one day, you might help me one day. You know what I mean? It's like you said, the community is so small. And people talk.
Yeah.
Don't think that they don't, because
mate, there's more gossiping.
Everyone knows.
There's more gossiping in Muay Thai than like a grade 9 class. You know, and that's the thing. It's such a small world. You have to conduct yourself with integrity and authenticity. I think that's a massive part, and I think that's a great way to look at it. That, you know, we were talking before this podcast about that. It's such a small world, and, you know, unfortunately, with any subculture or any sport, any side of business, there are going to be characters who are unsavory, and word gets out pretty quickly on not to deal with them.
Yep.
I mean, I think we've all been burnt at one stage. You know, whether
experienced it,
whether in a fight career, whether it's in the business side of things, you know, you really have to conduct yourself with integrity.
You do. I mean, if we want the sport to grow and go internationally and become, you know, better, we have to conduct ourselves that way.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and the other thing is at whatever level you're at, a coach, a business owner, a fighter, you're a model for someone.
Yes.
Right? Whether it's the junior team, whether it's even the practitioners at your gym.
Yeah.
It's
important for everyone, and not only for fighters and gym owners, but on the other side, being even a promoter. Like, I know in Australia, some people won't fight on a certain promotion because the promoters are you know what I mean? Or like if you think people need you, and then so you're rude to them or you treat them incorrectly, you know, you can be very mistaken.
Yeah.
And you have to treat everyone with respect.
Yeah. And I mean, it's okay for me to sit here and preach this sort of stuff. I'm not perfect. You know, I've been...
Yeah, none of us are.
I mean, I've been to people, especially like, you know, and it comes down to, it could be the wrong time of day, you know, or that sort of stuff. So
that's right.
You know, we try our best, but
that's right.
You know, you just try and be authentic as possible.
Yes.
Now, this is going to be a really good experience for Nick.
Yeah.
So it's your first fighter fighting overseas.
Yeah.
How does it make you feel knowing now that you've taken fighters around the nation? How does it make you feel as a trainer having one of your fighters on one of the biggest promotions in the world at the moment?
Yeah, I couldn't be prouder. Like, it's I couldn't be prouder. And especially for Nick, you know, I remember Nick's first ever class, you know, teaching him, you know, your left foot forward and your right leg back. Like, I remember showing him how to throw a jab, you know, and now, for him to be fighting in Rajaratnam Stadium on RWS, which is my personal favorite show too. It's, you know, we started from the beginning and here we are now together still. So it's going to be amazing. I'm so proud of him.
Started from the bottom, now we're here.
That's right.
Yeah, we won't go into the Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef, but we'll move on from that. Yeah. Now, not only are you a trainer and a business owner and you have a plethora of fighters underneath you, you're a partner of a professional Muay Thai fighter as well, who is a WBC national champion.
Yes.
How does that play into your personal life? You know, do you because you've got a fighter as a partner, do you feel like that connection is important, having the same interests?
I would say so, because it's going really well. So I can't say it isn't. But I always used to say, like, I would never have a partner that does Muay Thai or something, because we need like a separate thing. I don't know why I thought that, but it's actually been amazing to be able to share a common interest and a hobby. Obviously, we do have arguments sometimes, but for 99% of the time it's positive, and being able to train with each other, I think, is really important for me.
What do you argue over? Do you argue over whether like Muay Khao is better than Muay Mat, or do you just argue about who needs to take out the rubbish?
Yeah, it's more me making the bed in the morning than things like that. But yeah, no, we're good. We spar together, like I hold pads for her and everything. And sometimes, you have a bad day, you can go in the gym and be annoyed at each other, and then you do a hard session, you leave, feeling great. It's a great bonding experience, like on the side, away from the personal relationship. We bond in that way as well. So
do you have much to do with her fight career?
So she's from Muay Thai.
Yep.
Trained under Kieran Walsh. So she only moved to Adelaide 3 months ago.
Okay.
I want to get that right. She's probably going to say I'm wrong, but about 3 months ago. So I can't take any credit for any of her accomplishments or anything. Kieran did an absolutely amazing job with her. But going forward, yes, I'll be managing her and everything.
In the corner, everything.
Yeah. So it looks like, I was just speaking to the RWS promoter the other day. She looks like she'll be making an appearance on RWS.
Cool.
Soon. So
excellent. I'll look forward to it. Yeah. That I think that'll be a really good experience for her as well.
She's a great fighter. She had she did her ACL, so she's had over a year off now.
Yeah.
But she's been back training hard. She's looking sharp and she's hungry.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been impossible to try to get her a fight in Australia, but it's impossible. So we'll just come here and fight.
Yeah, I mean,
it's better for her anyway. She's at that level,
Yeah, I think that's one big thing about Australian fighters, and I said this on another podcast recently, and I think a couple of Aussies are a bit mad at me about it. But I said, if you want to be the best, you've got to get outside of your backyard, and I think there's a handful of fighters in Australia who are claiming that they're the best in the world, but they're not getting out of their backyard, and they're actually not fighting the best Thais. Or and
I just laugh when I hear that stuff. And it's so funny.
And they're in the same weight division as some of the best Thais in the world.
Yeah,
and they're not fighting. They're not fighting outside of their backyard. Now, I understand that people have commitments back home, and it's not actually the easiest thing to get over here and be able to commit yourself 100%. But I still don't think you can claim you're the best in the world and you're not fighting the best.
Absolutely not. And people do, but it's bull.
Yeah, no,
unless you're fighting the best and beating the best, you're not the best.
No,
it doesn't matter what your Instagram posts say and what your trainer says and your mum thinks. It's unless you're fighting the best. And
and half of fighters have a head that only a mother could love anyway. So, myself included. I'm just lucky. I'm lucky that I've got a wife that loves me enough. But So yeah, I mean, I think that's a good thing that Nick's making the move over.
Yeah.
To get himself out of that backyard.
To go on from what you said, Joe, about fighting internationally as well. Like, the cool thing is these days, like Nick, for example, he's not living in Thailand. Like, you can train from home now. He's training from home from our gym, and we're willing to travel. We're still getting the opportunity, on RWS. And a lot of gyms too. I've seen Andy come over, Kieran, obviously, Lewis. You have to, if you want to fight internationally and you can't move to Thailand, you need to base yourself in a good gym that can teach you real Muay Thai and can get you the opportunities. Because when you apply to fight on these shows, they look at your videos, style matters, like not just a record matters. You have to have a good style and obviously be at a gym that has the connections to network and get you the international fights. Otherwise, you can be amazing, but you're wasting your time at some gym that won't get you anywhere. And I understand loyalty and everything, but at the end of the day, it depends where you want to go.
I mean, that's a couple of really good points you make. So number one, a lot of fighters in Australia undo themselves because there's a point where you can only be so loyal that you're going to be stuck fighting on the same promotions, the same opponents.
Yeah.
You're not going to progress. It's also about treating your fighting as a career.
Yes.
And you need to be giving yourself better opportunities. Okay, loyalty is an important virtue. I understand that. But you also need to be able to give yourself opportunities. And if you're basing yourself at some gym that's in nowhere,
Adelaide.
yeah. It's the city of churches, mate. City of churches. Adelaide, what do you got? Hilltop Hoods. That's about it.
Oh, that's right. I forgot they were from Adelaide. From Adelaide.
That's it. Hilltop Hoods and what else from South Australia?
The barrels.
Yeah, the barrels.
Phillies.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, a bit of wine as well.
Great wine in Adelaide.
And a lot of churches. But anyway, God will probably smite me for this episode.
Yeah. We'll get burnt down as soon as we just go back.
That's right. I can already feel my head steaming. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You have to be willing to move to a gym where they're going to give you the opportunities, and collaborating.
Yeah,
collaboration is a really big thing for fighters in their career. You need to be willing to move around a little bit. And I'm not saying being a gym or a gym hopper, but at least collaborate with other gyms. You know, like Aussies need to get rid of this thing of like tall poppy syndrome, of not being able to disassociate their pride or their ego. Collaborate with other gyms, have sparring days, do that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
That's where opportunities garner themselves.
100%. It's like it's networking.
Yeah,
it's
networking. You know. Yeah, exactly. You've really brought it around to like a LinkedIn post there.
To go on the loyalty thing, if you're at a great gym and the training's good and you're getting the opportunities, stay. I'm not saying don't be loyal, but if you're at a gym, I see it so much, and I'm like, that guy has potential, but he's gonna go nowhere. You know, just staying at like some gym, you know, in Adelaide. I see it like, not putting anyone down, but if you have an aspiration to go somewhere, but you need to put yourself in the right position. You need to do it like.
Yeah, exactly. The other thing is style. Style is really important.
Style matters.
If anybody listens to the, I'm going to give myself a little plug here. If anybody ever watches the Saturday Omnoy show, 2:30 p.m. Thai time, SKS Empire, in collaboration with Kiapet Promotions, you can watch it on Siam Boxing YouTube. If you ever watch the English commentary, I'm the commentator on that, by the way. One of the best commentator in Thailand. I always talk about style and how important style is to Muay Thai.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I think we're starting to see with entertainment Muay Thai is style is being watered down a little bit. But Australia, I think, is still a place that really garners style as an important thing. And you need to be at a gym that still holds Thai style as an important value.
Yes.
Because I still think style wins fights.
It 100% wins fights.
I mean, you could have the cleanest boxing in the world, but if you don't know how to kick, you're not going to win.
Yeah. Muay Thai is Muay Thai. Like, if in my opinion, the gyms that do the best Muay Thai and have the best fighters, it's straight Muay Thai gyms. You know, they're not doing Muay Thai and then, you know, kickboxing as one class, boxing as another class. Like, I'm sure there are gyms that do that and might do well. But for me, when I watch fighters and the fighters with the best style and that do well, they train at a good Muay Thai gym that trains Muay Thai.
Yeah.
They're not doing karate and some other
and that doesn't mean that gyms can't have a particular style that they teach. I mean, in Australia, it's crazy. We have Muay Thai gyms. You've got gyms in Western Australia that specifically teach Muay Thai style. You know, the Pit, Calsock.
Yeah.
You know, stylistically, Melbourne, I think, has a bit more of a kicking style. You know, and you've got gyms like just off the top of my head, I would say like Don Miller's gym is a bit more of a left kick style gym. They've got some very good Muay mutts there. I mean, Don's a phenomenal trainer.
Yeah, shout out to Don Miller.
With different styles. You know, SRG, very beautifully technically. And then Queensland, you start to have a real mixture of styles up there as well.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think styles are a really important thing to hold on to.
For sure. Going back to even what we're talking about, promoting yourself and having a point of difference, style.
Yeah, exactly, right.
If I saw, you know, someone shadowbox, I could say, oh, that's that fighter, you know, from the style. You can recognize, what gym they're from. So, yeah.
Now, I'm going to just turn the conversation around to being a trainer. And this is a question that sort of gets asked a little bit, or it's a little bit controversial. Do you think trainers have to have been fighters to be a good trainer?
I don't think... I don't like to say anything has to be this way or it is this way, because there's so many grey areas. Nothing is black and white.
Right.
However, in saying that, to truly understand something, you need to have experienced it. Like, I know when my fight is in the ring, I know the feeling. I know the feeling of being in the fight. I know the feeling of bleeding. I know the feeling of being tired because I did it. You know, so it brings another aspect, you know, completely understanding them and the feeling and what they're going through, which I feel like helps being a coach. The other thing too is like, if you want to get your car fixed, right? Are you going to go to the mechanic, you know, that's done it for 20 years? Or are you going to go to someone that's just, you know, read a journal on it? You know, experience, I think definitely is important. In saying that as well, though, I also believe that there can be great trainers that weren't fighters.
Yep.
I'll definitely, for sure.
Yeah.
And if they are, power to them. Great. It's amazing. You know, we need more people doing Muay Thai that, you know what I mean, maybe haven't done Muay Thai, or fans of Muay Thai that haven't done Muay Thai, things like that. I think it's I support it fully.
I think there's two really good points that you make there. Is one is empathy, having empathy for a fighter, and that's one thing that I think perhaps might be missing from some trainers who might not have fought or have had a lot of experience, is understanding, and especially with young fighters who are not experienced, who are having their first 5 fights, experiencing the nervousness, the anxiety, also understanding what it's like to lose, and being down and out after a fight. I mean, and even in like Muay Thai media, there are some people like Muay Thai journalists who, and I'm not having a dig at anybody specifically, but if you haven't fought, if you haven't fought, you don't quite know what a fighter's going through. And if they've just poured their heart and soul into a fight over 4 weeks and they've just lost, and then you're harassing them for an interview and they've got a big gash on their forehead, they're not going to want to talk, mate. You kind of need to sort of understand that they're in a vulnerable position emotionally.
And fighters will not open up and say it. We need to see it. You know, from the media perspective, from a coach perspective, but we can see it because we've done it.
We've lived that.
You know, it's not. It's not a. You know,
and I'm not saying that as a point of saying like, because I've been a fighter, I'm better than you. But it's just coming from a different perspective of understanding that might not be the right moment to attack something, or even as a trainer, oh, you did well, No, sometimes a fighter just falls and they do need a bit of a grilling,
For sure.
So, and that's one of those things, people sort of in the West a little bit, they get a bit taken aback when they might see a Thai trainer yelling at a Thai fighter who fought. So, for example, last weekend at Omnoi, there was a fighter who lost very badly, and then in the back room, the Thai trainer was swearing at him and saying, "Look, you fought
round 6."
Yeah, round 6. They call it round 6.
Round 6.
You fought badly, blah, blah, blah. People don't realize is that these gyms, they house them, they feed them, they look after them, and it's the fighter's job to train and turn up to training every day. And these, often the young boys who are, teenagers, but they've got a responsibility to do their part.
Exactly right.
And when the gyms are putting everything on the line for them, it's their responsibility to put their end of the bargain up as well. And that goes in the West as well. Exactly.
Every relationship it's a two-way street. That example, like you said, the gym's housing them, sponsoring them, feeding them. You need to go in the ring and fight, listen to your coach in the corner, at least do the essentials of the job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that goes for the West as well. Like, just because you're a fighter in Australia and you're paying gym fees, you're putting your trust into your trainer who, number one, has to teach classes. Number two, has to try and get you fights. Number three, still holds pads for you.
Yeah.
Number four, has to put up with your emotional. Number five, has to go and spend their time away from their kids or their family. It costs
money.
It costs running the gym. So say you're coming overseas, somebody's still got to run the gym and put the lights on, right?
Exactly.
So,
people don't see that. Sometimes fighters can think they're bigger than what they are, especially it's like, that we put a lot into the fighters, and it can be thankless. So obviously we do it for the love, but yes, in any way you can, fight hard, at least fight hard when you're in the ring. So you don't waste our time. 2, listen to your trainer, and 3, help the gym. Like, do a post about your gym here and there. Like, especially if you train for free, I think you should be posting about your gym every week. Like, help your gym, bring something back to the gym. Not everything is just about you.
No, and that's it. There's
like any relationship.
No such thing as a free lunch.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, it's a two-way street often, and I think a lot of fighters have lost sight of that these days. And I suppose that could be the negative side of social media, is that it's come out to a point where people have the ability to self-market, and it does take a lot of pressure off the gym, but the gym is still a very important part of the ecosystem to the fighter.
It's a massive part, because that's where all the work's done. It's the most important part, in my opinion, because you can have a massive following and do all the right things like you should do, but at the end of the day, when you're in the ring fighting, you want to perform well and win to keep getting opportunities, to keep growing in the sport.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's a global community now, and it's people don't realize it is a team sport. It's not, you're an individual jumping in there, but it takes a team to support you to get in there.
Yeah, people forget it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, your teammates come and massage you for free.
Yeah.
They come and be in your corner for free. They don't have to do that on a Saturday night.
Yeah, yeah.
They could be doing their uni essay about communism. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what you people study
with
these.
Your girlfriend or the family or
who does that, bro?
Whatever it is. Yeah.
Even I don't do that. My missus is downstairs drinking coffee while we're doing this podcast.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. I love my missus. So you actually work at a high school.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that? Because it's nearly sort of unheard of, like teaching Muay Thai at schools in Australia.
I think I might be the first person to. I don't know. Yeah. So a friend of mine, he runs a men's group at my old high school, Henley High School. Obviously, it's in Adelaide. So it's 40 boys. We have a chat with them once a week and just hang out. Anyway, when I went into there, the teachers approached me and said, because they know I own the gym and, have fighters and I'm in the industry. They asked if I wanted to teach a couple of PE classes a week. I said, yeah, sure. Like what do you want me to do? And they said, it's up to you. I said, okay, I can do boxing or Muay Thai. I said, okay, I'll do Muay Thai. Like, yeah, okay, try it out. So the high school has a big gym and then it has like 10 bags, like 20 pairs of pads, 20 pairs of gloves.
Wow.
Dude, this is at high school. So, and I went in there, I had a trial class. I took them through a Muay Thai class. It's with the flow students, which is kids that, bad behavior. And so I took them through an hour of Muay Thai at high school. And the teacher said to me after, like, we've never seen these kids ever listen for a whole hour. And they absolutely loved it. So they gave me a job. So I'm teaching Muay Thai twice a week currently, but it's going to be 3 times a week at high school, which is amazing for the sport. Like, imagine going to high school, how many kids now are going to be exposed at, that high school of Muay Thai now, where they might have never have known what it was.
I mean, that really showcases the positive impact that Muay Thai can have on people's lives. I mean, you're taking troubled or at-risk youths who challenge authority.
Yep.
And now, to be able to garner their attention for an hour is, that's a big feat. And, this could be life-changing for them.
Yeah. A couple of the boys are actually coming to the gym too.
Oh, awesome. That's really good.
Yeah. So from being introduced to it at school, they're like, love this.
Yep.
Oh, and I say, I own a gym. If you ever want, come down, I'll take care of you. No problem. And so now it's, they're on a positive path.
Yeah. Awesome. That's a really cool thing.
Yeah.
Here in Thailand, there's a similar thing where they have sports schools. I think there's a couple of up in Lampan and a couple of the northern provinces where often you'll see schools have fighters and they'll all be in their PE uniforms in the corner.
Yeah.
And they have Muay Thai programs at schools.
Yeah.
I think Muay Thai actually used to be part of the national curriculum, but I think they stopped it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure it was.
Yeah.
Now, the school that I teach at, they have Muay Thai as an extracurricular program, but it's, there's not like a specific place where they can go and hit the bags, proper setup, but they do have like a certified trainer who comes in and teaches Muay Baran and Muay Thai to our school.
Awesome.
So it's pretty cool. I mean, because these kids are a different demographic to what the normal practitioners in Thailand would be. They're quite wealthy families.
Yep.
And to be exposed to that side of the sport is fabulous, I think, because it is the national sport of Thailand.
Yeah.
And here's a bit of pop trivia for you. The Bank Tainchai, the founder of RWS, actually went to the school that I teach at.
Really?
So there you go. Yeah, one of the biggest boxing promoters and managers, and now the head of GSV and RWS is a former alumni of my school.
Wow.
So there you go. And that's that really showcases that Muay Thai is for everyone.
Yes.
Doesn't matter what level of society you are.
Yeah.
And I think what I'm starting to see now here in Thailand is that it is becoming more popular for all levels of society. Over at Crew Dams Gym in Ekamai, which is a pretty upper echelon area, it's a pretty fancy area. They have amateur fights quite often there, fight nights. And we're starting to see that kind of that more, padded Muay Thai fights more for the middle class Thais, which is cool.
They just want to jump in and have a crack, not have the pads off and get hurt. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and in Australia... I
never thought that I would see that in Thailand.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah. It's pretty cool, because Muay Thai is for everyone, and as anti we can be, as I like to call it, the Transformer suit. Not everybody wants to go to the office or wants to go to school with a black eye or a cut.
Exactly.
They want to be able to jump in there and experience it for themselves, and I think that's valuable. I think it is a valuable experience of jumping in there.
I think it's priceless because. It's a challenge. You're going through something different, face some adversity, get in the ring and you learn a lot about yourself, which you can carry on to the rest of your life, I find now if something bad or hard happens in my life, I'm like, it's easy.
That's it.
So many fights. I'm like, this is nothing now. This is easy.
Yeah, that's right. I reckon the fights are the easy part. It's the weight cuts.
I had some bad ones.
Man, weight cuts. I think that's the worst part of the sport. And,
I think so.
And now there are some promotions that are trying to mitigate, huge weight cuts and that sort of stuff. But,
everyone still does it.
That's crazy, isn't it? And as much as we know about the science behind how bad it is, we're still seeing fighters go into the sauna and cut 7 kilos before a fight. Craziness.
Yeah.
Craziness. Like the detrimental damage it does to your brain.
It's terrible. I've seen it countless times where a fighter will, say, fight at a heavier weight division and do amazing. They can take a hit, they have energy, they can fight hard, and then they cut a few more kilos and they do terrible. Because, when you're dehydrated, you put your body and your mind through that stress, you can't take shots the same.
No.
It's not good for you.
And, there's that kind of old wives' tale of, once you get knocked out once, your chin's gone. And I think it's true. Your brain can't take that kind of impact again, and
it's hard enough getting, and dangerous enough. The last thing you need to be doing is completely dehydrating yourself and putting yourself at more of a health risk,
Yeah. And from the time we were fighting, now there's more science, there's more access to education about nutrition, weight cuts. Now we have nutritionists specifically targeting combat athletes.
Yes.
We've got, neurologists and sports psychologists. I mean, there's even fighters who are doing neurology or neuroscience drills about coordination exercises before their fight. One example is Brioni Soden from WA. Last time she fought, she was doing these neuroscience drills, and she outsources a lot. I mean, apart from a coach at Three Lions, who's actually Max McVicker's father, she's got a boxing coach. She's got, I think she might be a nutritionist herself, but a lot of fighters now, they've got their Muay Thai trainer, they've got a strength and conditioning coach, a boxing coach. How do you feel about fighters outsourcing?
I support anything that will improve them. Anything. I don't like to limit my fighters. Nutritionist, amazing. Boxing coach, I'm 50-50 on, and I'll explain why. Yes, I've had it before where, a kid of mine or a student will go to a boxing coach to improve hands, but then when they come back, their footwork's way off.
Right.
They're trying to jump around and throw. And I'm like, stick with what you learn with the hands, but don't, the footwork has to be Muay Thai footwork. And I think it can be hard for, you need a boxing coach for boxing for Muay Thai, not boxing for boxing.
100%.
I think people don't understand that enough. They're like, just go to a boxing coach. It's like, you're going to pile up now.
Yeah.
Or the range is different. You need to know obviously hands, you only have hands to worry about in Muay Thai. If you get too close, you're getting elbowed or clinched.
I mean, the stance is completely different as well.
Completely
I mean,
different.
Muay Thai, we're standing taller. Boxing, you're standing more square and using your knees a lot more. I mean, it's just, it's kind of counterintuitive
It's counterintuitive. I actually did think of getting maybe a boxing coach or something at the gym, but it's hard to find a boxing coach that understands Muay Thai. And from my opinion, when I look at I prefer the gyms that just do Muay Thai.
That's a fair enough and valid point. I mean, it changes the game a lot. Down at Fairtex, they've got a bunch of Filipino boxing trainers, and but I think they've got a bit of experience with working with Muay Thai athletes, because you look at the guys who have fought on Fairtex fight, their hands are a lot cleaner, and but it's specifically for Muay Thai.
Yes,
that's,
I think even a Muay Thai fighters might not be aware of that. That they go into a boxing coach, but to try and find a boxing coach that has Muay Thai experience, like real Muay Thai experience, someone that's done Muay Thai for a long time. Because people say, "Oh, why don't you just punch him?" Or some people say, "I want to do boxing because I like this guy's style. He has good hands." And I'm like, "Yeah, he has good hands, but he has good hands and he can land the hands because he understands Muay Thai. He understands the range of kicking, clinching, elbowing, controlling the arms. Just if you go to a boxing coach, he's not going to teach you any of that, and it can be detrimental, in my opinion. In some senses. So positive in some senses, for sure. Negative in some senses.
I mean, that's a fairly valid point you make there. No. I mean, I agree with you. I mean, it changes the whole game. Even changing gyms sometimes can be detrimental to a fighter. I mean, on the last podcast, I was talking to Eleanor about often, what makes a good trainer is not changing a fighter's style, but embracing their style and perfecting it. So, for example, like if a fighter's a Muay Thai fighter, a clinch fighter, and they come to your gym, you don't want to change the whole nature of their style, but you want to perfect it, and that's what makes a good trainer.
I agree.
And like, how many times have we seen fighters in Australia where they'll change gyms because of something will happen with a girlfriend or a girl, or like just something that the gym closes down, they go to a kickboxing gym and it changes their whole style, and then their career goes down the dunny. So
100%.
So stay style. That's the
that's right. And sometimes I think, like, a coach, it can be maybe a bit of an ego thing where if a fighter comes to you and is already established and has a great style, rather than trying to perfect it, that's sticking with their strengths, they can be like, "Oh, new gym, new trainer, I'm going to change you," so people think that I've made you better or changed this or changed that. Like, it can be sort of an ego thing on the trainer too.
100%. And I mean, that's one of the things in this sport we have to do is disassociate our egos. And I mean, I think that comes down to the Buddhist thing is, letting go of your ego. So, I mean, it can be detrimental to fighters and yourself. So, anyway, I think that will probably be about it. So thank you for coming onto the podcast, Jordan. Thank you for giving me your insights on all things Muay Thai. Thank you for being on Chok Muay Chats, and good luck to Nick this Saturday.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on too. I appreciate it.
No worries.
It's been fun.
So where can people find your gym online?
Strong Heart Muay Thai. We're in Adelaide, South Australia, City of Churches. Come and see us. Follow us Instagram, Facebook, or my personal accounts, Jordan Fielding.
Awesome. Thank you for joining me on Chok Muay Chats. You can check out this episode on Spotify, YouTube. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. And I'm Joe Comerford, commentator, content creator, and former fighter and all-round fat guy. Thank you very much.